Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. There's a lot to talk about today. Of course, we have the crypto bill in the U.S. that is set to be introduced to Congress. We have SEC update with Binance and a little bit more FUD throwing by Reuters. And, of course, we have a lot of whale buying. And I'm going to share why I feel like right now Bitcoin seems to be stalled, but there's one particular reason that I think really is holding us back temporarily, and let's discuss all these things. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and make sure you follow the brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. Let's see here. Well, if you're looking at U.S. markets, well, right now U.S. market, the futures, look not so good. Dow is set to be negative 300, NASDAQ down 1.31%. So right now, U.S. market not looking good due to guidance from Target, one of the biggest retailers out there. In fact, its pre-market shares is down almost 8%, and that's because they have too much inventory. I guess demand is slower than expected, and now they have so much inventory they don't know what to do with. So they're going to cancel orders and put a lot more things on clearance. They're going to mark down unwanted merchandise. So that's what's happening, and kind of spooked the market this morning a little bit. So that's the big news that's driving U.S. markets down right now. I mean, as for Bitcoin, it's still holding at 29.5. We did have this happen, again, the Bart Simpson move, but I'm going to share exactly why I think that's happening right now and why we keep seemingly, we go up a little bit and then down right back down to the same level, but I do believe there's something behind it, so I'm going to share that. But before I get to that, let's talk about the big news of the day, and that is this, okay? This new crypto bill that is set to be introduced today, and this is backed by our friend, Senator Cynthia Lummis, and I say our friend because she is a big crypto and Bitcoin bull, someone that's been in it since 2013, and this will introduce or try to introduce a new regulatory framework for how crypto is going to be regulated, specifically on kind of like the gray areas, okay? Projects like DAOs, for example, DeFi projects, even DeFi projects outside the US, right? Also exchanges, and what is considered a security token and what isn't. So actually, if you had a lot of time on your hands, 600 plus pages of this bill has been leaked out, okay? Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of pages. So if you had a lot of time, you go ahead and read through it. But the summary of it is this. Number one, they want basically all projects to register, meaning that they want to know where it's at, who are the founders, stuff like that, which makes autonomous organizations like DAOs and DeFi projects and crypto exchanges, well, they most likely will be a thing of the past, because if you're going to operate in the US, you're going to need to register. And this is, of course, for consumer protection. At least that's what they argue. So 8:30. So that's number one. And many people have problems with this because there are some projects out there with anonymous founders and a lot of DAOs that are really not controlled by anyone. So they may cease to exist if they don't find a way to register in the US. Also, exchanges, seems like they're going to have stricter compliance rules. And any project that allows trading of any crypto is deemed as an exchange, which means it sounds like AMMs or DEXs will also need to be registered as an exchange, which will kind of defeat the purpose of having a DEX in the first place, if you think about it, right? So if DEXs have to register like centralized exchanges, then what's the difference, right? So that also is being introduced, it seemed like, which would be a very big negative. So there's that. And then lastly, there's basic clarification on what is a security, what isn't. I think that will help define who the SEC could go after. So I think that overall could be a very positive thing. Although if the SEC is having a problem defining what's a security and what's not, I don't know how this bill does. But anyway, so those are the major things happening. And I don't know. I mean, if you look at it like this, if you just look at a broad overview, it does sound pretty bad. It does sound like this is a bill that no one wants, right? But you know regulators are coming after crypto. They can't ignore crypto any longer. Crypto is way too big, especially with DeFi growing by leaps and bounds, and same thing with DAOs. And of course, there are still a lot of hacks and vulnerabilities and rug pulls and a lot of stuff that's going on. So you know regulations are going to come. Regulators want to, I don't know, according to them, protect consumers. More likely, I think they just want to make some money off of it. They want to tax things. But this is just the very beginning. This is a framework to kind of get things rolling. And I don't know, I don't know how long it's going to take for this to be revised or approved or if ever. But this is the start of it. This is the start of it. So again, I just summarized that as well as I know. But if you have time, go ahead and read through the pages. 600 plus pages. Very, very complex language. So if you want to take a look, please do so. All right, so I want to lead off with that. That's the main thing that's going on today. I don't think it's a negative thing. I don't think it's a negative thing at all, at least in terms of the price. Now, last night, Bitcoin's price did dip down, and I mentioned about this, but I don't think this was what caused it. There's two things that really caused it. And the one thing that I believe is holding Bitcoin back. Every time Bitcoin seems to have a good little bump, a little rally upwards, then we seem to lose that momentum and everyone gets pissed off about it, right? And who should you be pissed off at? Well, you should be pissed off at the greedy leveraged traders. I was just thinking about this. It's so obvious what's happening, right? Bitcoin finds a level, it wants to take a breather, it sells off a little bit, and guess what? The guys who threw on 100x, 125x, 150x leverage, well, they get wrecked. Then you have massive liquidations. Then you have massive sell pressure. And then we go back down to where we started. I mean, just look at this. Just look at this. It's so obvious what happened, right? I mean, on the flip side, when Bitcoin's coming up, yes, there's some short liquidations, but not nearly as much as long liquidations. Anytime Bitcoin seems to have a little bit of traction, you got the same guys, maybe the same whales that haven't learned their lesson. They throw on like a huge million, 2 million, 10 million long leverage, and then they get liquidated, and it brings the whole thing down, right? So right now, short term, temporarily, I do believe this is what's happening. This is what's holding Bitcoin back. Too many leverage guys that just keep getting liquidated. This is over 100 million within a single hour. Yeah, I think that's what happened, right? So again, I stress to everyone, don't play with leverage. Even if you know what you're doing, even if you think you're the best leverage trader in the world, right? Don't do it, because if you're wrong, not only do you wreck yourself, you wreck everyone else with you. That's what's happening right now. However, the good news is, there are a lot of people that are not leverage traders. There are a lot of just buyers and holders, right? So today I decided to look at Crypto Quant, and what do you know? take a look at this. This right here, okay? Huge, huge buy of Bitcoin. 38,000 to be exact. This is the net flow of all the exchanges. So this is not just looking at outflow and not taking into account of inflow. No, this is taking into account of both. So over the course of basically the last day, you had some whale that purchased, or a combination of whales, that purchased $1.1 billion, okay, of Bitcoin. And now it's off the exchanges. It's that simple, right? And it's not just yesterday. If you go back all the way to, mid-May, you could see there's a lot more red than greens. And what does that mean? You have more and more Bitcoins being bought and removed from the exchanges. This is what the whales are doing. This is what the big boys are doing. And they're winning at this game because retail investors are panicking over, 1,500 point drops. And while that's happening, the whales are buying by the billions behind the scenes. I think people take Bitcoin for granted that there's going to be unlimited supply forever. That is not the case. Everything I've been showing you guys in terms of reserves keeps going down. And Bitcoin itself is programmed to decrease its inflation rate. So in another 2 years, the 900 Bitcoins being mined per day drops to 450. Then it drops to 225. Then it drops to 112.5 or whatever. And it's going to keep going down. And more than 90% have been mined already, over 90%. So it's not like a stock. It's not like there could be more of it in the future. There's only going to be less of it. And everyone will be fighting over it as it grows in adoption and usage, right? But this is exactly what's happening behind the scenes. More and more is being bought, and unfortunately, the whales are accumulating, and they're accumulating, while retail investors are panicking over a 500-point drop. Okay, that's not the way to win at game of crypto. You want to do what these guys are doing. You want to be patient. You want to lick your chops when things go down because you can now accumulate more at a cheaper price. That's the whole point of DCA, is to bring your cost average down and kind of ignore the FUD and emotions that's out there, right? But that's what the whales are doing, and that's what we need to follow and not be panicking and spreading FUD around, right? So this is very, very, very important. I think this is the main point. The main point I want to talk about today, besides the crypto bill. Now, there's other things about Bitcoin. Having patience gets you rewarded. So if you look at previous halving events, right, every time there's many all-time highs with the price, right? In the last few years, we had a ton of all-time highs. We haven't had one this year yet. Doesn't mean that it's not coming, but this is why we hold on to Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin whales are buying Bitcoin by the billions, because they know this will keep going up and there will be more highs along the way. That's just how it is. It's that simple. All right. Now, besides this, I did want to talk about real quick about last night about Binance. Okay. The SEC starts their probe over Binance, BNB, whether or not they conducted a legal token sale, whether or not BNB is a security token, all that good stuff, right? So obviously this kind of spooked the market a little bit. I think the SEC is just like looking for a fight at this point. They have a battle already with Ripple, and now they're going after Binance, who is even a bigger company. They're just targeting everyone, right? But they're not the only ones that's trying to cause FUD right now. I missed this, but Reuters published a huge article about how Binance is now a hub for hackers, fraudsters, drug traffickers, and they have at least laundered $2.35 billion in illicit funds. So this adds to more FUD, right? And you know what? I don't know how warranted this is. Binance responded to this with a huge blog post with all the email correspondence they had with Reuters, which they believe Reuters just ignored, right? And all this is based on a few people sharing data, and who knows how legitimate that data is and so forth. So Binance is being attacked right now. So I do believe this is also kind of putting a little bit more pressure on Bitcoin crypto overall because of the SEC now going after Binance, who of course is the biggest exchange out there in the world. And then you have reports like this, which is stirring up old fears about how crypto is only being used for illicit activities. It's kind of bringing up those fears again. All coming up at the same time, right? Seems very suspicious. The timing of it seems like it's coordinated, right? But Binance is staying strong. They are, I believe, they're going to get through it for sure. CZ is a smart guy. They have a lot of things in place. They have a lot of guys on staff that I'm sure they have a lot of lawyers that will fight this tooth and nail. And I did see this to show that they are strong and they're not backing down like Coinbase and Gemini, who both reported recently that they will be withdrawing their offer letters and possibly decreasing their staff. Binance.us says, no, we'll happily hire any of the people that gets fired from these two competitor exchanges. So they are definitely staying strong, and hopefully you guys do too. There's right now little what do you say? Onslaught of FUD right now. We will get through it. We will get through it. All right. That's pretty much what I want to say. Overall, U.S. markets, NASDAQ is recovering a little bit. It was negative 1.3%. Now it's back to 0.74%. Bitcoin is still staying strong at 29.6. All right, let's do some Q&A. Thomas, greetings from Poland. Keep up the good work. Welcome and thank you. All right, let's see. What else did I miss? Big Perm says, a bill that benefits us would take years to pass, but a bill that benefits them would get fast track and pass immediately. Well, that's 100% true. Katamaran channel says, CZ said months ago, DeFi isn't possible because governments and regulators. That's kind of true. That's where this bill is going. Basically, if you have an anonymous project, it's probably not going to be able to operate in the U.S. And there's something in here about how they need to register for tax reasons too. I mean, ultimately, I think that's what they care about is taxes. They want to make sure they get their appropriate share. But, yeah, it's something. This is something that Michael Saylor also have talked about, why he's not in altcoins. It's not because he thinks they're all shitcoins. It's because he believes that there's too much regulatory uncertainty right now, and they're going to be attacked, right? And I think it started happening already, but we will see. We will see. The framework, I think, you have to have some rules, right? I don't think you're going to have it be like the Wild West, because right now we are kind of in the Wild West, kind of, and we have seen some very bad things happen, right? Very, very bad things happen. Now, in some cases, they turned out to be okay. Like some exchanges get hacked by hundreds of millions, but luckily they have enough insurance, or luckily they have enough reserves to cover it. But in other cases, when a project fails, like Terra and UST, they don't have enough to cover it, right? So there are good and bad right now, and I think overall the crypto bill is trying to make it so that it's more good than bad by having a lot of protection, for these projects. But then again, it takes kind of some of the decentralized nature out of it, right? So then kind of defeats the purpose of having some of these kind of projects. So I don't know. It's a tough call. You got to find the right balance between the two, and I don't know if that's gonna be found. A says first time interested in ADA. Well, please share why is the first time you're interested in ADA. A lot of people are now attacking Solana. Someone's Mighty Mustache says DXY ripped too. Where is the DXY? I have that. I thought I had it. Let's see. Yeah, DXY. Let's zoom out a little bit. DXY seems to be coming down. It peaked around 105. Now, it's hovering about 102, which is still high. Historically, pretty high if you look at, 2017 and 2020. We're still at very high levels, but it has come down from 105, which is good, which is good. And right now you're seeing it's coming down a little bit too. So if the DXY drops significantly, historically speaking, it helps Bitcoin and stocks and tech and helps a whole lot. So that could be a good thing. Reuters is a hub of misinformation. It does seem like it. Let's see. Congrats from Portugal. Thank you. Who was liquidating the leverage exchanges? Yeah. Yes. So liquidations, all these leverage trades and futures calls are on exchanges. And basically every exchange has it now, right? I used to go after some of these guys that would, keep shilling Bybit and stuff. But honestly, all exchanges have it. Binance has a ton of leverage. KuCoin has a ton of leverage. I mean, every single exchange, FTX has a ton of leverage. Every single one, right? But I really wish leverage. It seems like leverage does more harm than good. It just wrecks more people. So, and right now, whenever you have like something like this, all of a sudden $100 million worth of longs, liquidated, which means that they have to sell off. It just hurts everyone, other than in exchanges. The reason why they offer is because they collect the fees no matter what. They don't care who loses or who wins. They collect the fees no matter what, right? So it's unfortunate. I mean, I know Binance and FTX, I think they removed their 100x leverage, and now they're down to like 50x or 20x or whatever, but there's still plenty of exchanges out there that offer way, way higher. Could governments actually shut down Binance? Why is Binance not many countries? Well, right now, Binance.com and Binance US are two different things. So Binance is still operating in many, many countries. I don't even know where they're based out of. I don't think they have a headquarters. So it's really hard to kind of go after them. For that reason, I think they did it on purpose. For US, of course, they could go after .US exchange, but they have been compliant for many, many years. So it's unlikely. James, any dangers of coins like Ultra, Veracity, Cody, Ecomi going the way of Luna and dying? Sure, they could. But you got to realize that those projects are nothing like Luna, and you have to understand why Luna died. And that's because of UST's collapse. And those coins you just mentioned do not have a stable coin, so they're not even in the same realm of, I guess, the same kind of coins. The Shaolin says, I thought Ethereum was already safe. It is. There's no indications they're going after Ethereum again. With the new bill, what will be the location and address for BTC? I don't know what you mean by that. BTC doesn't have to register. They're not going after Bitcoin. Bitcoin is already declared non-security. At least the SEC is not going after them. And it's not a company, so they don't have to register. KYC on Binance is pretty strict. Yeah, I mean, Binance has been on top of KYC for a long time. So, and they started Binance.us years ago for this reason. They knew this was going to come, right? So I think they would get through it. White Goodmans, okay. First of all, there is a lot of manipulation. But second of all, don't make stuff up. You don't have $1 billion worth of Bitcoin disappeared from exchanges for no reason, all right? Yes, someone bought it. Yeah, even on the foreign exchanges, someone was saying about KuCoin, you have to show a picture. Like, I mean, even on foreign exchanges, there are still some that do not require KYC. But most of them, even like KuCoin, even if you're trying to use a VPN, like even if you try to use a VPN and try to get on Binance.com, immediately they ask you to do KYC. So they don't even track the IP anymore. They just want you to do it. So it's kind of hard to avoid at this point. Tiberius said it right. So many questions of leverage in the chat is another reason folks shouldn't do it unless they already know the answers. I mean, that's true. That's why I don't mean to pick on anyone, but there's a lot of people that would say buy, I don't know, Gala or something, and then ask me, oh, is it a good buy? Well, you should have asked that before you bought. So if you ask afterwards, well, then that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So it's kind of like that. There's still a lot of there's a lot of fun about Solana, and I get it, right? Solana was once upon a time the hottest chain there was, but today you can see it's down significantly, 11%. It has lost all of its strength, and that's because we still see a lot of network outages happen all the time, and especially with right now with a lot of fear already. People don't like that, and people don't like the fact that Antoli and the other guys, you know, they were high and mighty and a little cocky and arrogant, started attacking some of the other chains that were not doing as well, like attacking Cardano, and immediately afterwards they have problems. And it's not just that. Antoli didn't also just attack Cardano. They attacked Bitcoin. He came out and said, I think Bitcoin needs to move to proof of stake in order to survive. And guess what? Days later, Solana has a network outage, right? So he basically needs to eat some humble pie, okay? Because he has attacked Bitcoin and Cardano, and after both, Solana has a problem. It has a network outage. So that's kind of I get why so many people are now against Solana. So I wish they just, they tone it down, become more humble, just focus on fixing their issues, and they will continue to do well in the future. Okay, they will continue to do well, but they need to kind of solve some of their issues. What would you do if you were Satoshi? I don't know. I would do what I'm doing now. I don't know. I don't know how it would be different. I would still continue to do the same thing. Hi from Israel. Welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of people looking through the crypto bill, right? There's so many pages, 600 plus pages. I kind of gave a rough overview, but there's a lot more details at stake, right? So I do suggest, if you guys are really interested, to check out the bill. It's a lot of reading, very difficult language, but it's definitely there for the reading. So take a look. Take a look. Do you think one will survive the bear market? I do think so. Right now, it's surviving. Right. I'll say this about crypto, since I've lived through so many of these crashes and markets, bear markets. It's really hard to kill. It's really, really hard to kill a crypto project. Really hard. And I'll use one of my favorite projects, Litecoin, because I started mining Litecoin in 2013, 2014. Litecoin went up. It went from like nothing to about $40, then crashed down to $1. Okay, so when I was mining it, it was like 20 something dollars, went up to 40, then dropped to 10, then dropped to 8, then dropped to 4, and I got out at around $4. And I saw it kept going until $1, right? And then Litecoin became a dead coin, dead from 2015 all the way to 2017. Zero developments, zero zero news, nothing. Charlie sat on his hands and did absolutely nothing. And then Litecoin came back to life in 2017. It actually had a pretty good run in 2017, right? But it just goes to show you, it's hard to kill crypto. It's the same thing with Dogecoin. Dogecoin got popular because of Elon, I believe, and Mark Cuban and everyone else that jumped on the bandwagon, and it's at 8 cents. But, you go back to 2017 or even before that, it was still many, 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 many decimal points, right? 0.0001 or something, whatever it was. Doge was a project that has zero developments for the last 10 years. No, it hasn't been around 10 years, but last 5 years. Right, so it's really hard to kill projects. They may go dormant or go into hibernation, but when things come back, a lot of them do. Generally speaking, it's the ones that still have a large number of loyal holders, still projects that have great leadership that people believe in, right, and projects that continue to execute. But sometimes, even if you don't have all three, it still somehow comes back. But if you have all these three things, a project never really dies, and there's always a chance for it to come back. So just keep that in mind and focus on the great projects, because no matter how bad it gets and no matter how many years pass, they could always come back stronger. So think about that. GBTC conversion July 6th. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's too soon, but yes, eventually. I think there's a good shot by the end of the year, but not in July. If it does, then we will have a crazy, crazy rally. Yeah. The BTC and ETH are already deemed commodities. They're already deemed non-securities. The SEC already said so. So there's very little chance that they're going to be re-looked at as securities. It's not going to happen. So Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty much set. But for everything else, they're going to take a hard look at them, right? All right, guys, that is it. Hopefully, they're staying strong right now. U.S. markets, not so good. We got the crypto bill that is set to be introduced. A lot of proposals, a lot of oversight, right? This is a general framework, but we'll see. There's still going to be a lot of back and forth. This is not set in stone yet, so there's going to be a lot of things that will be discussed from here on out. There's still a lot of FUD, especially right now around Binance and security tokens and all that stuff, right? But with all that said, you got to follow. You got to follow the money. And where's the money? Well, now this disappeared. The money is going into Bitcoin, right? Money is going to Bitcoin. The whales are buying behind the scenes regardless of what's happening right now. And that is the way to do it. because you got to stick with Bitcoin. You got to stick with Bitcoin over a long haul because there's just so little of it to go around. All right, so have patience, stay strong, and continue to DCA. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight. Usual time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.